Hello, hello, hello. Oh, and I can see our guest.
Hi. You did not send me the link. You forgot.
I was right there. I think you enjoying so much of Ramadan.
Mhm.
Good to see you and welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, so we're live now and a very, very happy Sunday. Joining you live from my city, Gaborone in Botswana, a country right next to South Africa. So maybe I use Dr. Russ' words, Kenyan born, Botswana raised. Is that how it goes, Dr. Russ? So this is a place I love to call my second home, and we're joined in. And I see we already have our guest right there waiting. Welcome, welcome. He's joining us from LinkedIn. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and our favorite place, LinkedIn. I mean, YouTube as well. We're on YouTube today. We are live on YouTube. And super nice to have our usual Dr. Ras, who is our moderator for the day. We have Honorable Simai, our lovely minister, joining us live from Zanzibar. We have our very own Miss Yodit joining us live. She's always globetrotting. I don't know which part of the world she is right now. She'll tell us. And we had our very own DJ, Margaret. Maybe she's joining us again. So I'm just going to pass the mic over to Dr. Ras, but I'll do it as I say. This is Miss Kim, Sally, and it's a lovely Sunday. I'm looking forward to the part two of this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kim. Hello, Honorable Samai M. Said. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Miss Yodit,
Hello.
our guest, in LinkedIn, as well as the social medias, whether it's you're on Facebook or YouTube or what have you, but whatever live, whatever medium you're watching this through, I am Dr. Ross, that's R-A-S, because I'm really a scientist, and I'm here as a founding member of THT, the Happiness Tribe, and we're here part two, episode 76 for our Sunday 10 to 11:30 Eastern Standard Time episode, and we will be talking about health, wealth, and technology, but specifically, we'll be talking about that in the context of Zanzibar and a destination trip for all you professionals or family members who want to or is interested in health, wealth, and technology. We'll be talking with the Honorable Samai M. Said today, and we'll be featuring some other guests as well as they come in. But thank you guys for joining us today. Good day, Honorable Said. Would you like to say hi to the audience?
Hi, everybody. I can only see three faces, so I'm not sure who the listeners are, but I mean, good afternoon to everybody from Zanzibar. I hope everybody's well.
Thank you, thank you. And now, Miss Yodit, you've been on the road traveling. How you've been? Say hi to our THT listeners and members out there.
Thank you, Dr. Ras, and hello, everyone. Hello, Honorable Said. It's a pleasure and an honor to be in your audience this afternoon. I'm looking forward to the program. Yes, I've been on the road. I've just come back from Brazil. It was a fantastic trip and another very happy place that I'm hoping we will be looking at for one of our future programs. But looking forward to hearing about Zanzibar and preparing ourselves for that trip. Thank you, Dr. Raz.
Absolutely, absolutely. So while we give it some time, we're 8 minutes after the hour now, and I know with the time change, regular guests and things are still coming in at different times. So I want to thank you, and thank you all for being here. So today is actually a continuation. We began a conversation last week, talking about a beautiful place on uh, the mother continent of Africa, and we're talking about Zanzibar. And so we have, like I said, some special guests here because we have an opportunity that'll be coming up at the end of the year, as you guys know, to be able to bring some entrepreneurs and professionals to a destination location that's about health, wealth, and technology. And this is actually the mastermind of Miss Kim. So, Miss Kim, before we get to our guests, can you talk to us a little bit about this destination trip that you have planned for October?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Russ. It's interesting because I think ever since we started the plans for Zanzibar, I've been doing a lot of reminiscing my time in Zanzibar. And it took me back to my discovery of Tanzania. As my dad used to say, he used to call me the child with the itchy feet because I love to travel. Of course, the African culture. Vacation was going to grandma's place. School closes, your vacation is you go to your grandma. But at the age of 16, I had gone to Tanga. Honorable Simai, you know Tanga. It's actually close to our coast. So our coast of Kenya is called Mombasa, and you go by road, but you sail to Tanga, which was taken as what's with this child. And that was me. I went to other cities like Kampala when I was still young. That's the city of Uganda. I traveled extensively, and actually, I went to Dar es Salaam the first time when I was 18. That's in college, and I could do solo traveling. I've always loved to travel, and since then, I've extensively covered the continent. I've been to several countries in Africa. I've also extensively gone to quite a number of parts of Asia. I've been to China several times. I've done Bangkok. I've done Thailand. I've done a few parts of Europe. But one thing that I was reflecting on is what is this, the connection between me and Zanzibar? Have you been to a place that makes you feel complete? That it actually, it's so, there's tranquility, there's some peace in Zanzibar that I can't explain. There's a feeling. It's generally when I would do the contrast between my trips to Zanzibar, because I love coast towns. So I do a lot of Durban, the coast of South Africa, and I do Cape Town. And then I don't do Malindi as much as I do Malindi a little bit, the coast of Kenya, but there's a feeling, there's a connection that sits with me that makes me feel like I dump and leave all the worries of this world in Zanzibar. There's something that Zanzibar just completes me. And I can't just wait to get back again. I've actually, the past 2 weeks since we started planning the trips, I'm talking to all my contacts in Zanzibar because I also blend in work and vacation. I think it has a lot to do with the people. There's some ingenuity with Zanzibarians. We call them the Waswahili. The Swahili people of Zanzibar, they are so centered, they are so peaceful. I don't know for what reason, Honorable Simai, you'll tell us, but you don't see the usual complaints we have about life. I don't get it. Have you met people who are so content with life? Who, like Stone Town, which is kind of the capital of Zanzibar, it's the kind of place that from your hotel, last time I stayed in, my goodness, I'm forgetting, and it's right in Stone Town, a very nice place.
Oh, it looks like we have a little bit of connection issue there.
Yeah.
So while we reconnect, I know where Miss Kim is going was with connections. And speaking of connections, Honorable Samant is here, and he is the former Prime Minister of Tourism.
No, Minister.
So,
No, not Prime Minister. Minister.
sorry,
Sorry.
excuse me, Minister of Tourism. And
Yes.
so with that, and excuse my, thank you for that clarification. Can you speak to, now we're talking about destination, location, Zanzibar, and me, Miss Kim was saying having a special connection and being from Jamaica and being from an island, You know, Zanzibar, again, to me, when I think of it, has that similar connotation. And of course, even though attached to the mother continent, has a special quality. So, as the Minister of Tourism, can you speak to Zanzibar as a destination location, as well as introduce yourself to the crowd again for those who weren't here last week?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Simai, and I grew up in Zanzibar. You know, I've been engaged in community work, and eventually I decided to venture into politics. I don't know, would I say that I am a politician because I am practicing politics, but I'm just, I'll probably, in a softer language, I just like to say that maybe I'm probably like to be a good ambassador of my country, the Republic, United Republic, and of course of Zanzibar, which is, I find Zanzibar truly a magical place. And well, I think when we talk about destinations from in the world, you know, from island destinations and countries, you know, where they have rich historical background from the northern part of India, or you look at the Greek islands, or the northern part, the southern part of Spain, the Caribbean, the history of Argentina and other countries. But when it comes to the African continent, of course, most of our history has been taken away through colonialism and other factors, which I do not really intend to engage into those conversation or talk about that. But to talk about Zanzibar, you know, when someone asks me, what can I do in Zanzibar? What is there in Zanzibar? I think the most important part is not everybody, of course, people, those who like to enjoy the beach can come to Zanzibar and enjoy the ocean and just leave the island and not know or have a clue what's going on here. But I think to say that if Zanzibar is a world-class destination, I don't think I would use that language, the world-class destination. I'd like to top it up with a unique destination. Zanzibar itself, because you cannot compare this island to other places. I mean, I've been to Far East Asia, I've been to other parts of the world, but well, I haven't seen much of the Caribbean, but you know, having read about it and seen part of it. But when you look into Zanzibar, because of its geographical location and its history, I think the most important part, which is truly a magical thing for Zanzibar, is the history of Zanzibar and the people of Zanzibar. That is the biggest investment and the attraction itself of this part of the world, Zanzibar, where you'd see different cultures hundreds and hundreds of years ago have, you know, joined in, formed, connected through its values, and has become a melting point now, you know, where when you breathe, you can actually feel it. It has evolved into different parts of the of decades of many years, you know, for the 100 years. When you walk into now into the main island, which is Unguja, Zanzibar, you can feel the living culture now, which is the Swahili culture. The Swahili culture goes all the way in the coastal part of East Africa, as Sally had mentioned, from the northern part of Mombasa, Lamu, all the way to the Horn of Africa, but coming down all the way to Mozambique. So Dar es Salaam, Tanga, Mombasa, and a bit of interior. That Swahili culture um, is a very unique because it's a living culture, and the best way to experience that is not only by looking at someone or seeing that that's an African because he's black. It's through the food, the lifestyle, the way of how they communicate, the way how we live, the way how we engage each other through our friends and families, the way how we celebrate the most important days of the year based on our Islamic values and culture. So the number one asset, I would say, for people who wish to visit Zanzibar, so I would add that as a unique world-class destination when one wants to experience, especially for the African Americans, those who are living from Louisiana to Alabama, New York to the California, and other parts of Europe when they want to visit Africa. So because a lot of us talk about the trans-triangular slave trade, which is, you know, the slaves that were left from the Gambia, Ghana, went to the fields to work in the Caribbeans, and then of course end up in the Americas. No one understands about the East African slave trade. So most of us now, Zanzibar was the center of slave trade at that time. So the people who were captured from the mainland interior of Africa, from Congo, these were big, strong boys. They were brought in, they were walking from Tabora all the way to the coast, and then walk all the way to Bagamoyo, and they'll be sent by the dhow to come to Zanzibar. From here, they were sold, and they could end up anywhere in part of the world. Most of them went to the north, Egypt, Sudan, and the Middle East, from the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and other places. So you might end up somewhere like in Qatar, and you might encounter with someone who has a bit of roots of Africa, and you'll hear him or her telling you, my great-great-grandfather came from Zanzibar. So at times it will be very difficult to know if he or she, he was a slave merchant, or he was basically sold through a different bloodline and come from slaves. So the history of Zanzibar, it was an epicenter, for commerce, for business, not only with this trade of slaves, but ivory, spices came in from different parts of Asia and China. Zanzibar was the center, and it has been mentioned by the Phoenicians. Ibn Battuta mentioned through his travels coming to Zanzibar. I'm not sure if you know about that. And when we talk about Zanzibar, we talk about this main island of Unguja, where I am right now. But we also have the other island called Pemba, which is a lot more, it's more virgin. We don't have a big airport, so it's really much, it hasn't been developed as much as it's happening here. So it's a must also for people to visit and to see. We have a city there which is under the water. We are trying to learn more about it. How did this city? But we don't have proper marine divers who are qualified archaeologists to tell us more about the history. So there's a lot around this area. But when you actually go to this place in Pemba, you can still till today pick up pottery on the beach, and kids are playing with it. But this is like a treasure working out. It's like going to Cairo and finding a mummy in a desert and calling the Egyptologists to come and collect it because they are fed up. Wherever they go in the whole of Egypt, there's too many mummies all over the place. So it becomes a burden for them in terms of budgeting and planning. So going back to our history, that is where I said it's the uniqueness of it. The Shirazis were here. So Shiraz is a place that comes from the Persia, which is currently Iran. They were here, and the old capital was the southern part of Unguja, of Zanzibar, of this island. And they settled down here. And we still have one of the oldest building. It's a mosque, which has manuscripts, carved in Persian language. So I presume it was built in the 13th century. So then the Shirazis left, and everyone, the Arabs came, and the Portuguese passed by here. And now, Zanzibar is just Zanzibar. You look at me, I can't even say myself, but, believe me or not, I've got Indian bloodline. I've got Omani bloodline a little bit. My wife always questions that, which Omani are you from? I told her it's called El Hatmi. That's what my father told me. So there's a lot of challenges within ourselves. The other day, I was visiting my grandfather's grave. And it's a very rare thing for Africans, or especially for us. You normally end up seeing the grave of your grandfather, but to find the grave of your great grandfather, so the grandfather of my father, was so it's not easy, because we've had the revolution, people have come and go, the Islamic values, you tend to once the dead has been buried, the 3 days of mourning passes by, people tend to move on, and of course, with years, there was no technology that was used or people to know the locations. So once you've buried, it's gone. You have to forget, but you should remember who were there. So now, to me, is that the history for people who want to visit this island. I think it's important that they want to connect themselves with that well-being side that we are talking about health, wealth, and tech. So the health and wealth is to connect yourselves with your history and to understand how this world, this planet, this country, this continent, and our beautiful planet, the history behind it, and using Zanzibar as an exemplary place to connect yourself with your well-being, to do, uh, I don't know, will there be yoga and other activities to be done? But to understand, to use history, and while you're walking around town, to feel, to breathe the air, and to feel the good part of you, so that when every one of you will go back home, you are rejuvenated, you feel that you have earned, uh, experience something new, something different, but by feeling it. I think that's what I would say, that the health and wealth part is to use the history of Zanzibar, the people of Zanzibar, and to reconnect with other things. Now, in terms of attractions for the island, of course, we've got beautiful sandy beaches. We've got the historical World Heritage Site, which is a stone town. I'm sure Sally and a lot of people who have visited, it's you've got the narrow streets where people are living and still, doing the daily activities in this old town, and it's like if you have visited Plaka in Greece or somewhere, most of the Greek islands, when they have the old town and the Eastern Europeans. But the one in Stone Town, it's living because it has the African touch. It has the African smell, the African values, and the way how people move and communicate to one another. You might find a tourist walking, but people and the kids are going to the mosque to pray, and absolutely no problem. So you can see the Islamic values and the culture while you're seeing visitors from different parts of the world enjoying their walk and experiencing Stone Town. But then we also have got Jozani Forest, which is an important area as a biosphere, where we have the red colobus monkeys, which are only found here. And of course, the marine different parks located around the island. We've got the Menai Bay, you've got the Pemba Conservation Area on the western part of the other island. Of course, for those who love to enjoy swimming, we've got the dolphins, which is it's not, I wouldn't say it's very well organized, but people tend to enjoy the dolphins. There's been a lot of people raising complaints that maybe you should do it more controlled, just like the gorillas in Rwanda. But the whole of the island, if you spend an hour to two out in the big water, the possibility are very high you'll end up swimming. If it's a small fish, a big fish, or a dolphin, you'll encounter. And the other biggest challenge that we have, it might be beautiful for us, is the water at times. It's crystal clear and very bright. It can hurt your eyes. So I think it's a nice thing, but it's the Europeans and most of the visitors, they love to enjoy the warm water of the Indian Ocean, but the colors tend to change from turquoise to light blue. And for those who enjoy snorkeling or diving, the visibility can go up to more than 20 meters at times. It's really nice to be in the water. Like at this time of the year, the water is actually warm. So for us, uh, it's the nicest time for swimming, but it's humid and hot. But it's nice for visitors also to experience that. Yeah, so let me probably just stop there. I don't want to take too much time. I've communicated.
No, this is really good. This
Uh,
is so important. Thank you so much, Honorable Said. What I would like, Miss Kim, I'm sure the audience is going to want to know with the destination package some more information and details. But I want to talk to you a little bit more about the experience itself, sir, and what, from your experience and understanding, what would be an ideal time to spend, because from what you're saying and what I understand is you have to spend a good bit of time, of course, what you normally expect in that outer region, the beaches, and see the outside, which you normally expect, but also the enrichment of the historic and everything that you said. I'm sure there's structural remnants and societal remnants of that history there to spend a whole nother destination in the interior of even one island, much less two, right? But what I heard from you speaking of is a couple call to actions. One of them is in the research area of marine biology, right? So it seems to be that there's an interest there and a motivation, a need for partnership business in that area of and which can be pretty lucrative, right? In that marine biology and research. You also mentioned about technology on the second island and infrastructure, right? That's important when we think about tourism and retail. You have to have the infrastructure and the technology. So, and I think all of that also produces an opportunity for education, right? Across
Right.
discipline education. And so with that, being, are you the current or former minister of education as well? Because I know you played a big role in that. And this education is the basis of everything we're talking about. So can you speak to that a little bit and how that ties in?
I think uh, when we touch the subject of education, because we are predominant Muslims, and so I would hit this probably, it might upset other people, listeners who are here, but because of also of our religious values, the issue of family planning is not something that matters in our society. So a lot of people have kids more than 5, 6, 7. So as a result, the government is faced with a lot of challenges. But as the society gets to understand more, so I think nowadays certain families tend to sort of, because the way of life, to understand, and they are more, they're becoming more, they're becoming more aware that it is better to have a smaller family, and so that you can do better to take care of your children. So we are sort of in that path right now. However, being in an island, I think there's a lot of opportunity, not only in terms of technology in education, but also in education itself, to either to start an institute in different areas, from vocational to innovation, but also to private schools, uh, boarding schools, but also to even online, but be based here, but also in terms of doing languages. So because everybody, there's a hunger to for people to learn and to experience something different. But of course, you need to also look at it in terms of education for us as Africans to pay, to understand in terms of either through anything to do with innovation, from artificial intelligence, to understand more. It can be very expensive for us to pay to the European countries. So I think it is an opportunity for people to come and equip themselves more and bring themselves more in terms of bringing that technology to East Africa, to Tanzania, and to Zanzibar. And I think the advantage is when you market a product from Zanzibar, because of the name Zanzibar, blending yourself and merging with that name Zanzibar, you're already halfway in terms of your marketing strategy. So I think that opportunity is, but it is always important for someone to value themselves, to come here physically, do a physical inspection, and understand the opportunity that is there before, by just, I don't believe in doing strategic plannings and doing feasibility study without going to a place and to feel it. Is to be here physically, walk around, breathe the air, and see that opportunity in the technological side, but also in terms of um, the service side, the tourism side, and the commercial side of it, so that people are, you can feel better in which aspects and areas you can take a step. And there's no need to take a big step first. Is to is to try the opportunity first. Which area to identify there? It's exactly what when Sally came to connect herself with Zanzibar, doing her work in terms of robotics. She started very small, and then she's connected herself, but she literally introduced coding and robotics in Zanzibar, and there is still that opportunity for schools. But unfortunately, Sally wants to be all over the place. But I think that opportunity is still there for Sally to come and do up coding and robotics for schools, sessions in the afternoon. And it's an interesting thing because you like to drop your kids. You know, my kids are doing coding, but, you know, it's not happening because it needs someone with that particular interest to be there, you know. So um, you cannot tell someone to do 100-meter race, become like, you know, what's a Jamaican sprinter? Um, I love him.
Usain Bolt.
You said like Usain Bolt, when you are not Usain Bolt. So you need Usain Bolt to do the 100 meters. So for people who are keen and understand the nature of the business in innovation, technology, they have to be here physically, experience it, build it, nurture it, do the coaching, hand over, then go live your life and then make your money. Come teach me what to do, make me understand, then you move on. And I think that is
Okay.
the right way, in a simple language, to say it. And that is, I mean, the opportunities in Africa, it's not in America. You are competing with thousands of people in America or India or China, more places like Zanzibar, where you can do the trial and, you know, expand your horizons. This is what we say, like the Ngoni, you know, they use a cow horn formation. You know, the cow, you go around and then you capture everybody. It's called the cow horn formation. Then you take everything slowly.
This is beautiful. Thank you. And so the where I really want to go with this now from what you said is how can AI technology impact the different things we just talked about? And this is a perfect time to introduce our AI in education specialist, Dr. Gladys Delancey Bolden. Dr. Gladys, are you able to say hi to the audience here? And did you catch enough to speak about the importance of, AI in education?
Well, yeah, first I would like to say, hello everyone. And I guess I was having some technology problems. I'm not really sure. So I've missed, quite a bit, at the beginning. And I want to say hello to Honorable Samai, nice to
Hi.
see you again. Yeah. So you were talking about, what is that question again about AI and technology? Because I did hear that, when he spoke of, the Honorable Samai spoke of marine biology, that they don't have the individuals there that are trained to actually, do the research.
Archaeologist,
Yeah,
marine
okay,
archaeologist. You can
archaeologist.
go
Okay,
down,
okay,
archaeologist.
gotcha. Yeah. So, and so now you're talking about AI in education. What were you saying about that,
Yeah,
Dr. Rod?
so yes, Dr. Bolden, just to bring the audience and yourself well up to speed, and we've been having a great conversation about the destination of Zanzibar, but it's interior, it's exterior, but specifically health, wealth, and technology. And then we rounded about to the importance of education and all of that. And now we're saying the
Mhm.
importance of AI in education and everything we just mentioned.
Yeah. Well, what I would like to say to that is that, that's the era in which we're living, where AI is pretty much taking over every profession. It doesn't matter whatever field students are going into, they're going to have technology as a foundation. That's just the way of the world. I think is unfortunate, because I think what Miss Kim is doing is really great, because she's introducing youth, because you have to start them young to these opportunities in coding, and introducing them to different forms of technology, so that can, better prepare them, because you're going to have to be adaptable. And that's one thing, even though Honorable Samai, I teach in higher education, and believe it or not, I have students that are, young adults all the way through, really full grown adults who really don't know how to be adaptable. I'm having, even though I teach, STEM education, I teach anatomy and physiology, I teach cell biology and genetics and other courses, I still have to teach them technology, and that's really not a part of my job, but I'm having to do that because we're in this environment right now where, if I want to make my job easier, I have to tell them how to upload documents, how to, which apps to adopt in order to provide me with the information that I want. So it's there's no way, no getting around it. And my thing is, even as a higher ed educator, I have to always be adaptable. I'm always changing. I'm always learning new technology. And I find that if you have a foundation, in technology, because it's always going to be changing, then it prepares you for those changes that are going to be before you, because there's no getting around it. I rarely go to a bank. I do everything pretty much online, you know. So that's my share when it comes to, you know, education.
Oh,
Thank you. And so, Honorable Samai, can you speak to then again the importance of AI in education, but specifically in the education within the tourism and as well as the health, wellness, and technology? What role does
well,
AI play, or does it?
I think the issue, I think I'm a bit worried when we talk about artificial intelligence and sort of connecting it with tourism, because you know tourism is such a big industry, and it employs thousands and thousands of people, you know, and when you check in into a hotel the traditional way, let's go back in terms of flight, okay, how we used to fly in the 50s, you know, it was a trend. Being a cabin crew was considered to be one of the most, you know, for the ladies, like an amazing job in the 50s, you know. What do you work for? I work for Delta. I'm a stewardess for Delta. It was amazing. Well, it still went on in the 70s and 80s. A little bit in the 90s, it started dying. You know, now, you know, I'll say, you know, you're getting a good service. You know, no one really cares anymore. Even to be a pilot, you know, when you'll tell your cousin, my cousin is a pilot, you know. Now, there are jobs now when you will tell people, depends on in which country you are, but when it comes to technology, you know, it's all I work for security for Facebook. You know, it's an amazing job. That means you must be a very senior person and well paid. Now, I think when we talk about technology and the world and connecting it with artificial intelligence and tourism, and especially looking at places that are heavily relying on tourism, places like, of course, where the major source of income is tourism, from East Asia, places like Thailand, Malaysia. Of course, they do have other industries, but tourism plays an important role in their country. The Caribbean, places like Jamaica, St. Lucia, Santa Domingo, a little bit of Mexico. Tourism is an important area. I mean, domestic and international tourism. Now, with I believe when you check it into a hotel, you know, everything now, eventually you'll have one receptionist, maybe not. You'll end up, you have your number, please press your number, put your card, get into the elevator. You'll not even connect yourself with anybody. By the time you get into a room, you know, you want your water, you please press this, that, everything is all set in there. Your coffee, your water, your fresh juice, your diet, everything is set. So number one is the worry that it's going to take a lot of jobs. And it's the human thirst. How far are we willing to say that? How lazy are we going to become? Because it's all about laziness. You know, oh, it's fantastic. You know, you arrive in this hotel, you don't see anybody, and you arrive. It's all going making us lazy. The service is part of the laziness. By the time you get into your bedroom, you have no connection with no human being. You get into the lift. Your floor is number 10. uh, good morning, good evening, Mr. Said. Welcome to the Taj Palace. And the lift will go up. Thank you, Mr. Said. You arrive into a room, you put your key card. Welcome, Mr. Said. By the time you get to your room, you've been acknowledged, Mr. Said, by a robot more than 40 times with the same words. There's no that human connection. So my part when it comes to artificial intelligence is that worry that the job losses, whereby it's going to take away the whole feeling about tourism. Now, I'm sure a lot of countries are not going to adopt, and they will try and maintain the traditional methods, you know, like the way how they'll make their wine, the way how people will dine, the way how people will, the small boutique hotels, people are going to retain, because I'm not going to go on a holiday and check into a hotel from outside. Thank you, Mr. Said. Welcome, Mr. Said. Good evening, Mr. Said. Well, Mr. Said, are you happy today, Mr. Said? You play your music. What song should I play for you, Mr. Said? Oh my God, you go to the bathroom, you know. Mr. Said, are you happy with the temperature in the bathroom? This cannot happen. You'll go crazy. So we have to be careful on that area. And now is also to start now, the movers and shakers in tourism, especially the big players, talking about UNWTO, and then from different associations, relevant associations from the Americas to the Asia, they should start talking, not only finding ways to market their products. They should start talking and communicating and having now round table discussions and how far they're willing to go. Because at the end of the day, this all, like what Dr. Sorry, was that Doctor? My
Gladys,
friend,
Dr. Bolden.
Doctor, yes. Well, she mentioned something. At the end of the day, we are going to become the consumers of the products that are going to be created in the AI. And the tourism sector, we just don't look at it. It's very annoying for many people at times when they talk about tourism, they think of hotels only. They don't think of the airline, the tour operations. They don't think of taxis. They don't think of the shops. So it's that whole thing now is like a guzzler. So we have to say, we have to have an upper hand, but also to engage into governments to put the right policy in terms of limitations. But I'm not sure how we are going to stop it. That's another challenge, because those people who engage into AI are extremely clever, and they know what you're thinking without you knowing what you want to say. They know exactly what you want. So that's another problem. You are about to open your mouth, they know exactly what you're going to say. They know what you're thinking and what you want to eat tomorrow. Now, how are we going to fight them in our sector?
Yeah.
So we'll have to somehow reach a place and come to some sort of an agreement on in the future of AI in tourism. Now, people should start talking and engage. And I think it'll be nice that when hope this trip will happen about the health, wealth, and tech destination, to create that forum using Zanzibar as a destination and to send a message globally so that we can rescue other beautiful places, historical places. I was in Louisiana, in New Orleans. Can you imagine? You have that party, the Mardi Gras, and you have welcome to the party Mardi Gras, and it's somebody telling you in the microphone, and you're hearing all the jazz music. But put your button here, have your headphone, and enjoy the jazz. It can't be. That's so inhuman. I would never go to a place like that. I'll just stay back home. So when this is what I think. I'm sorry, but I like to engage and communicate in a realistic approach. And this is what I see. So the AI factor has a reason. There's a concern, but we should also take it like also positive, that we need technology in tourism, but there should be a limitation to identify the time and how it's going to be used. Yeah. Can I end up there, please?
Former Minister, how dare you use common sense? Miss Kim, please.
What is so exciting, and I can't wait to have this conversation again with Honorable Simai. He's a big advocate for tech. Anytime I go to Zanzibar, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. He organizes us to do a little boot camp with children at his restaurant, which is right by the beach. And for me to think about the interactions I've had with university students and graduates who are in tech in Zanzibar, Zanzibar is honestly doing an amazing job in tech. We can't run away from this. It's a brilliant conversation for us to have, and we'd love to see the interventions we can have and the support, especially within the government, that we can bring on. With the disruption of AI, there's still a lot of good. Of course, we need to mitigate what could go wrong. We can't be super smart on everything. But when I think about the industry, especially the blue economy, which is a big part of Tanzania and Zanzibar, and how we can also tap into the brilliant youth that we have, especially in that block, Tanzania and Zanzibar. That is our greatest resource. So I think it's 2 years ago, Zanzibar opened up the digital nomads. And I saw a lot of serious investors coming to Zanzibar, where you see a global company is looking at that as a place where these youth, they're educated, they're brilliant, they want to work. And thinking about the climate is so good. It's along the tropics, food is good, life is way cheaper than a lot of places. Americans are dropping in to come and set up businesses there. So, Honorable Simai, we're in this together.
Thank
It
you.
has to.
So, as you spoke, um, and I'll go back on the notes, but I definitely heard another call to action where it seems there's a need for a coming together of a committee, a standard body, or something to create some sort of understanding of this integration of how do you, in a healthy way, acknowledge the transformation that's happening with the technology and not just what's here today, but to be able to foreshadow what's coming in the future. I think that's going to be key. And so again, it all revolves around education. So Miss Yodit, I know you've been sitting there patiently, and hey, Selassie, thank you for contributing. I'm gonna have Miss Yodit. I know she's burning to ask you some questions, but then as we get to the last half an hour here, I got some rapid fire questions for each of you, Miss Kim, Honorable Saeed, as well as Dr. Gladys. Okay, so I'm hoping you guys will enjoy, and thank you for the conversation so far. Miss Yodit.
Thank you, Dr. Ras, and thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your introduction and your comments on Zanzibar. I'm, as I mentioned earlier, very excited. I get super excited when I hear about places where there's a melting of cultures. I've never been to Zanzibar, but I understand that, and from your comments as well, that you've got different cultures coming together, and I can almost imagine the what comes out of that, the spices, the food, the drinks, community, etc. So I'm really looking forward to it. I have friends who have visited and explored the streets. The architecture I hear is fantastic, the doors. So I'm really looking forward to that. My question to you is around the work that you used to do when you were into community development. That's my life. That's what I'm interested in and curious about in Zanzibar. If perhaps you could tell us a little bit about what are the main issues that you concerned yourself with when you were involved in community development, and what are the opportunities for folks who are curious and would like to extend support to what's happening in Zanzibar? What are the areas that you feel one could get involved in as somebody coming from another country? Thank you.
Can I proceed? Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for. Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I normally would like to engage those sort of questions physically. To one to one, so it's much nicer. So I think the most important part first, like I said earlier, is I think for people who are coming to visit Zanzibar, you've heard about it. You've heard about Zanzibar, you've heard about Tanzania, you've heard about the African continent. Is to come here first and to feel this place and to see the. I mean, I like to be the good ambassador of my country, but coming in and feeling it, you'll be able to see more on that side. Now, the opportunities that have been really, I can talk about what the government vision is. We have identified three main areas, which is tourism, trade, and services. Now, there's a lot of creativity that you can engage in the tourism side to provide that service because tourism is the hotels, everything is imported in Zanzibar. There's a lot of production that can be done locally. There's a very beautiful story now here by a lady called Shehrazad. She manages a company called Inaya. She produces fresh all the swimming, bath, the bath gel, shampoo, and the moisturizer done from Zanzibar. And now all that is consumed by hotels in Zanzibar, but also in mainland Tanzania, in the Kilimanjaro, northern side of Arusha and that places. So, which is really, she started very small, but it has all grown up. Now, so it all depends on what your abilities are as well. But the opportunities are there, because if everything is imported and not locally made, so But the challenges is how do you create that product? It's up to that person to see and how it is. Of course, we've embarked now to provide special incentives for, especially for the other island, if you wish to open or to open a small scale factory. Now we are also open in terms of people merging in terms of business. People have small hotels that they have developed, but which are locally owned, but they wish to sort of, they're looking for potential investor to merge and take the idea on a bigger picture. So they're just sitting on it, but they don't even know how to market those places, but they're there. So it's not on an international platform, but we do have local companies like Remax who are providing access to people who want to buy land, want to invest into hotels, but also creating that opportunity in terms of JV. Now, what have I done with my community work previously? I mean, I was just an active community key player. I was a Rotarian. I am a founding chairman of a music festival called Sauti za Busara, which is Sounds of Wisdom, that takes place every February. CNN regards it one of the top 7 music festivals in Africa. We are non-profit. I have participated from different international and local regional conferences, engaged from malaria, HIV, building houses for single women, but also in terms of fundraising as well. So I think that is where I actually thought, why hang out on the outside where you can make a difference by becoming a leader to represent people. So that's where my background was. Then I decided to come in. In terms of education, I think I mentioned that earlier, is with AI, and in terms of I was more talking about innovation, and I think innovation is the key. You cannot move towards artificial intelligence where the innovative part for people to have that brains to become innovative, super creative, then we'll end up just like our leader, President Nyerere said, we must run while others crawl, but we must run while others walk. But it seems we are crawling while others are flying. So we must take one step at a time. Of course, we are behind, but we say in Swahili, pole pole ndio mwendo, slowly, slowly, but you'll get there. Rather than you think you're ahead, but you're actually behind. So we must go through every phase we are behind, but we must learn, experience, engage. So that's where the opportunity lies in business. So we say in Swahili, karibuni, come over, experience Zanzibar. I mean, it's not very far. I think, are you in South Africa?
I'm located in Botswana, which is
Botswana, okay.
Yes, in Botswana, and I'm really looking forward to it. I have a follow-up question, if that's okay, Dr. Ras.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very curious about the music festival, especially because it happens in the month of February, which is the month that I was born. Can you tell us a little bit more about that festival and what activities are organized to attract tourists to come in? Thanks.
No, I mean, we don't really, the idea was not to target tourists, but the main part was to create a platform that will give hope for the African artists to feel. So it is an international music festival, which is happening in Zanzibar. So we tend to get artists from all over the world. We've had an artist from South Africa who performed this year. What's her name? She's quite big in South Africa. Her name will pop up. I'll pass the name to Sally. So we've had artists, I think, from Botswana in the previous years, but it's more of a world music. So a lot of people, we promote the festival. We want the festival to become as it is a platform that gives hope to connect the African artists, but wider within the Indian Ocean, so that they're able to send their music to perform, but also to engage and to learn and to share the experience. So a lot of promoters and managers will end up coming to Zanzibar, will find a group of Botswana, and they invite them to perform either at Madison Square or in London, in Soho, God knows, whatever. So this has happened. But we've had, in the other side, well, the other positive impact has been for Zanzibar and Tanzania, is the numbers of visitors has gone up, which was not really our plan. Our plan was to use the stage, well, we're talking about 20 years back when we started the fair. Now, of course, the The ticket prices are supporting the income to run our office, to pay for our staff, but also to run the festival. It's not enough because we're non-profit and we don't have a lot of big sponsors who have come into it. We've tried, but it would be nice to have an international sponsor who can take over the festival, and we can do more, use our festival as an example, but to do more small activities around different parts of Africa, which would be good because it is an amazing festival. You know, we have the music, the program, the lineup. You can just click on YouTube and you'll see Sounds of Wisdom, Sauti za Busara Zanzibar. It'll give you a lot of clips, and you might be able to see my face.
Okay, so for
Thank you
this
very
that's
much.
streaming,
Thank you. I just
I
wanted
would
to
like
say thank you.
just Dr. Asp, before I just want to say that because I'm invited this Ramadan here, and I've got half an hour to prepare myself. So I'd like to thank you, and maybe I'll stay in for another 3, 4, 5 minutes, then I'll just slowly disappear. I hope that's okay.
so thank you, Miss Yoda. Go ahead. I'm sorry, you can wrap it up. Go ahead, Miss Yoda.
Thank you, Dr. Ras. Thank you so much, Honorable Said. I'm certainly going to look into the music festival, and let's see, maybe it will be possible for next year. Miss Kim, I think we should make a plan, but we appreciate your presence this afternoon. Thank you very much. Take care.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that very opening question, Miss Yoda. And I think again I was saying if you're listening South by Southwest, you know who to contact. The Honorable Saeed, is he gone? Um Samai M. Saeed. Okay. So thank you. And I guess we're on to our last half an hour here. Um, Miss Yoda, Dr. Gladys, how did you like the show so far today?
Thank you, Dr. Ras. I'm excited. I think there's a lot for us to explore in Zanzibar. I'm a bit worried about how much time is going to be required because from the Honorable Minister's presentation, obviously there's a lot to do in Zanzibar. So one of the challenges for us will be, what kinds of activities and program are we going to have to ensure that people stay interested in what it is that we have to offer, because clearly Zanzibar has a lot to offer. So I think it'll be exciting in that respect. And obviously, I'm very curious to learn more about the culture and what's happening with women and youth, especially, which is my areas of interest, and what kind of collaborations can we explore, between countries to make not just Zanzibar and Tanzania, but Africa stronger, because I believe we have everything that we need on this continent for us to flourish. So yes, very excited, and yes, lots more questions. Thank you, Dr. Ras. Over to you, Dr. Gladys.
I was wondering what happened to Miss Grace. I know I came in a little late, so was she not able to make it today?
Yes,
Okay,
I think
Yes,
Miss
yes,
Kim
Dr.
can
Gladys.
speak to that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she sent her apologies. Sorry,
Okay,
she sent her apologies. She couldn't make it. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay, okay. No problem.
But certainly
I'm
she will
sorry.
join us on another podcast. She'll
Okay.
join us on another podcast in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. No, I'm really excited about the opportunity to explore this beautiful region. And I've learned a lot, listening to the Honorable Samai. So it makes me even more excited, to actually have the experience. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Okay.
Yeah. So Miss Yoda, to answer a number of your questions in one, I mean, honestly, this destination trip to Zanzibar might just be an exclusive planning trip, right? Where it's really, as you said, there's things that need to be done, which are infrastructure related. There are opportunities for investors, right? There's opportunities for entrepreneurs. There's opportunities for philanthropists, for individuals that want to make change. This might just be a paid planning trip where, to be part of an organization that's putting together something that will be able to change the landscape of an industry in not just one country, but in multiple countries, right? Could be the beginning of a nice model and formula to address a issue that this is an industry issue that goes beyond the industry of tourism, right? How do you understand and integrate AI technology in a healthy way? We jokingly spoke about how you don't want AI into everything and it brings, takes out the human experience and the human innovation. But the other side of that conversation is where do you want AI in and where is it advantageous, right? To the human touch points, to the intersections in your journey that you do want humans to be involved, right? And I think it's the balance between that automation and the human interaction we need to find a nice balance with. And this could just be the planning stages of that, where individuals who are really serious would spend and wouldn't mind spend several $1,000s to be part of something exclusive like that. So that's just my take on this. Miss Kim, I will let you speak to that whether publicly or personally, but since I do have you here, I have some questions for you. I'd like you to answer, but you only get 2 minutes to answer each question, and they're not many, but they're pretty, just so people can have a little more idea. So, first of all, my first question for you is, what is the single most important habit that contribute to your success as a CEO? Miss Kim, who is the founder of the Happiness Tribe.
What a good question. And can I be able to answer that with the 2 minutes, really?
You got 2 minutes.
Okay, so these people and culture. The foundation we lay, the culture we create, the systems we put in place, the spirit of Ubuntu. And I'm hoping by now, I think we mentioned Ubuntu so often that everybody understands what that means. It is so integral for success for any organization. And it's the very same thing we're preaching and talking about and ensuring we have very deep roots. That spirit we embody, we embrace, we make sure I see you. We in this together. As you get into business, there are challenges. And I mean, challenges, it doesn't matter whether it's vacation, whether business is thriving, it's life. And life happens again and again. So just making sure that there's that strong bond, it becomes so easy for you to navigate any challenges you encounter in life. And the Happiness Tribe was formed for such reasons and has done an extremely job by having a team that truly deeply feels each other. That before we talk about can we create wealth through the Happiness Tribe, it is first and foremost the fundamentals looking into, are we happy? Does this speak to us? Do we resonate with this? Are we caring for each other? Are we having an impact as we come up with these projects that we want to do? Are we planting a seed? Are we thinking about the future generation? Okay, I think my 2 minutes are done.
2 minutes are up, and I let you go because you led into the next question, which is what inspired the name, the Happiness Tribe, and what does it mean to you personally?
Thank you. I love that question. So this came as a result of I started getting into at some point. I think everybody was doing LinkedIn audios, and every time I could get on a LinkedIn audio, there'll be somebody complaining about their life challenges. And at one point, we had a person in their 70s who spoke about his suicide attempts. And that got me extremely disturbed Because I would assume that quite often in our 70s, we're just playing with our grandkids, we're chilled, we're just passing on our wisdom to the next generation. We're not so worried about making money, doing that vacation that we never did. I mean, those are sunset years. We're just grateful. We're full of gratitude. So that got me very, very disturbed. And the following day, I spoke to Miss Paula and I told her, I need to start a podcast that talks about the opposite of mental issues, the opposite of stress, depression, everything. I want to start a podcast that can bring joy, that can inspire people, that people can leave when they come on Sunday feeling ready to face the future. And that's how the Happiness Tribe was born. Actually, the person who came up with the name was Miss Paula. She asked me, why don't you call it the Happiness Tribe? And it's 2 years down the lane, it's happening every Sunday. And we get a lot of beautiful messages, how we inspire people. Very easy, just getting on the show on Sunday, contributing, sharing what we know, touching a little bit on entrepreneurship. Because, I mean, money, of course, is one of the issues that's causing depression. But still strongly making sure we don't miss the ball, we don't miss the fundamentals, which is Ubuntu, the spirit of Ubuntu being embraced all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kim. And now your next question is, if you could instantly master one new skill to help your business, what would it be?
As you know it, I'm AI obsessed. I'm AI obsessed. So there too, I'm learning every day. Every day I do at least 1 hour course because also it's so dynamic. You think you're so smart in this area, you wake up, you find somebody has cooked something else that you need to master. So every day I've made it my commitment. For the next 1 year, I have to invest 1 hour every day to upgrade on AI. The other skill, sorry, I was asked for one, but there are two because the second one is so important: leadership. Every day, I ask myself, how can I be a better leader? How can I support my community, my team, my family, my children, everybody else? Leadership skills. Can I get better at it? Thank you.
This is wonderful. Okay, and this is rapid fire. I love the answers so far. So number four, what's one tech innovation you believe will transform Africa's business landscape in the next 5 years?
It's AI.
But
Artificial
what
intelligence.
specifically? Because like you said, when you wake up every day, things evolve so fast. So
Yes.
thinking in 5 years, the way things are escalating, what type of innovation you think in everything that's happening is
Mhm.
gonna last that duration and people should think about? Because you think about school and education, you locking in for 4 years at least at the major stages. So in the next 5 years, tech innovation, where is it at in Africa?
It's going to be pretty advanced. However, there's one big challenge we're dealing with that we need to start thinking about. The next two big things globally, it's AI and energy. So right now, we are so obsessed with AI, but the biggest issue that's going to kill us or just make us crumble if we don't think about it, it's energy. Because we don't have the capacity to innovate if we don't make sure we secure that. And that is why the trip to Zanzibar is so fundamental because there's a lot that we can do with marine energy. We can tap into that and make sure we can be able to not so worry so much about AI, about automation of processes, because we have the capacity to deal with that. So, of course, investing in our youth, it's extremely critical. We're the youngest continent in the world. 60% of our population is under 35, and that is an untapped resource. So right now we're inviting everybody come and invest in Africa, but start with upskilling our youth. We are boots on the ground, making sure that we train them. They're ready. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time, but we are at it, and every day we're making sure we pass the skills. Because I mean, that's this foundation.
Excellent. Thank you. And to wrap this up, this is the most important question. So, okay, get ready for this one. This one is, what's your go-to productivity hack when you're feeling overwhelmed? Meaning, when you've had enough of everything we just spoke about, what do you go to? What do you do?
I dance. I love music. I get lost in music. I'm extremely diverse with my taste for music. I actually felt I've really missed with Honorable Simai's the cultural music that they do in Zanzibar. I've encountered a little bit of that, but we have a lot of beautiful Swahili music that I can't wait to introduce you guys to as you get ready for Zanzibar. We have a very rich African culture. Our diversity makes, I think it's the most beautiful thing that we have. Whether you're in Ethiopia, you're in Rwanda, you're in Uganda, you're in South Africa, the beats we have in Botswana, in Kenya, in Uganda, and I mean in Nigeria. I think that speaks volumes to me. So Sunday, it's this becomes a discotheque, and I'm hoping to one day have a proper disco within my house.
Okay, and I think during the holiday session, I don't know, but I do think my brain works. But I know during the holiday session, we got a little bit of taste of that when we did the episode on music, during the holidays. So you did preview a little bit of some cultural music for us. And speaking of the holiday session, which a number of the episodes guys go back and watch, were driven by Dr. Gladys Bolden here. You know you weren't going to escape this rapid fire, Dr. Bolden. So my first question for you, getting right into it, since you are an award-winning scientist, my first question is, what scientific breakthrough are you most excited about right now today?
Actually, I'm really excited about CRISPR. CRISPR is a biotechnology that's being used to help treat or cure genetic issues. For example, sickle cell anemia, we've seen some progress with that. Of course, these individuals are still being followed, and they have to be followed for 10 years to ensure that the condition doesn't recur. But yeah, CRISPR, I'm really excited about that.
That is excellent, CRISPR. So yes, and that has to do again with genomics, but it goes beyond the analysis of genomics, right? And it has to do with actually augmentation. I don't want to use the word manipulation because it has a negative connotation,
Yeah,
but I would say modification because
yeah.
it's using just like a gun or a calculator. It can be used in a positive or a negative way, right?
What about
Depending on
editing?
the user.
Editing.
Yeah,
Let's use the term editing. Editing. So
and,
it's
right,
you're editing
right.
genes.
So
That's exactly what you're doing.
gene
Yeah.
editing, and so your gene and your sequence, so your RNA, your DNA, this is the biological makeup of what you are as an individual, right? Like the material, the information that comes from your mother and your father that come together to make you. So understanding that information on a biochemical anatomical scale, then we begin to understand if you're born with what's called a congenital disease, something that you're born with that's used based on a mutation or something going wrong with this genetic code, you can use CRISPR to either predict or help in the treatment of these kind of, is that the case?
It is a case in some areas, because what I would like to say is that, looking at it for, possibly treating cancer or curing cancer, cystic fibrosis. So there's numerous areas, we haven't reached there yet. And the reason why they selected sickle cell anemia is because of the fact that there's only one gene that was involved. So that was the easiest one to work with. And so far, they are showing, the individuals that have undergone this particular treatment, they are showing positive results thus far. But like I said, it's something that has to be, these individuals have to be watched for approximately 10 years just to make sure that it doesn't recur. And I just want to say, we're talking about, editing genes and everything. It's not quite that clear cut. It sounds very simple, but there's some things that the individual must go through. For example, in some cases, they may have to go through chemotherapy to try to rid their body of all those bad genes. And then, they have to be reinfused with, the new genotype, hoping that it will populate and continue to populate throughout their life. So it's not, I just don't want to make it seem like it's a matter of like, you use a computer and you have the wrong letter in there and you just go back, you know what I mean? And then you just remove it, or, so it is a complex thing, but I think that, it's a good thing in the sense that, these people can live healthy lifestyles, and they can, their life can be longer, so they can have, a healthier lifestyle. So there are a lot of advantages to this technology, but still, it's in the research stage. Let me be clear, so they're still working on it, as well as looking at other ways that they could use it. And I just want to say also, not only is it used in humans, but they're also looking at using it in agriculture as well. As far as, when it comes to transporting, things like fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, you want to increase the lifespan of that product. So when it hits the shelf, it still has some longevity. So, so it's being used in various areas. And like I said, in the research stage, and these are individuals that I spoke of, they went through clinical trials to achieve this particular type of treatment. And it could be very expensive. When something first comes out, it's extremely expensive. And I'm talking about, possibly $1 million. But when you go through these clinical trials, you get the opportunity to, to get that treatment for free, because they want to see how that works on the individuals.
You guys, you're hearing it. This is health and wealth wrapped in with tech all together in one here. So we're talking about CRISPR technology with Dr. Gladys Bolden here. And so thank you for that. And what you spoke about here with that technology that you're excited about, and I know I'm rapid firing to your questions, but you just brought up something really interesting, right? That it's research, right? So you have practice and you have research, but so for individuals that don't know or that's listening, you was mentioning a model of sickle cell and anemia, which again is a blood condition, right? And we're talking about it having a epigenetic or a link to genes that again we can look into gene editing to have these people do two important things: improve their quality of life, but also their duration and lifespan, which I mean, put
Exactly.
together, that's two. What do you want more, right? Than a better life and a longer life. So this is very important stuff, and I think is an episode all in itself. Dr. Bolden, we can definitely do that. But my next question, within your excitement, what drives your research today personally? Like your research in the area that you're focused on. What drives that? Or are you just in the teaching of that? What's the component now for that for you? Because I know you do a lot of hands-on, but you do a lot of education as well. Well, I think she might be frozen. Can
Now,
you hear me, Miss Kim, Miss Yoder?
okay. Yeah, I'm back in. I got kicked out. So what was the question?
Yeah, I was just saying that the next question was, what drives your research today?
So basically, it's the discovery, trying to learn about new things, ways to approach it. I have like this echo in the background, but let me see. Wait,
Can
hold on.
everyone put their mic on mute?
I don't know what's
Dr.
going on.
Gladys, you're on with two gadgets. So maybe
Oh,
swing out from one. Yeah. Good.
I was the wrong one. Dr. Gladys Bolden will be back in shortly. And if you don't know Dr. Gladys Bolden is here in Atlanta, Georgia. And she's also the founder of Beneath These. And if you don't know what Beneath These are, you can go on Instagram and check them out. But if you want the perfect intersection um, between comfort, right?
can you hear
And
me?
fashion, yes, you have
Okay.
Beneath These. Hey, Dr. Gladys, you're back. We
Yeah.
was just cutting to a Beneath These commercial, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I was saying, when it comes to research. What the question was, what encourages me to want to do the research?
What pushes you, what drives your research ambitions today in today's time?
Learning something new, discovery. You know, I'm always interested in, it's a curiosity, wanting to know how things are treated, um, how we can cure them. So research is extremely important to me. Even when it comes to my students, we actually do research projects because I want them to have that same interest. So when I'm working with, my particular population, they're not really involved in any type of research and don't really know the value. So I introduce that.
Awesome, awesome. All right, next question. What's one surprising skill that has helped you in your scientific career? I'll have to re-ask that question. Miss Yodit, I hope you're thinking because we got some time running down and I'm gonna have to super rapid fire your questions.
Uh-oh,
So
indeed.
while we wait for Dr. Bolden to chip back in, Miss Yodit, what's one thing about the health, wealth, and technology retreat in Zanzibar that you're looking forward to?
Thank you, Dr. Russ. I think I've already expressed some of the things I'm excited about, especially when it comes to the location. But I'm looking forward to meeting people from different parts of the world and engaging in conversations that will potentially open up doors for collaboration, as I said earlier. I believe sincerely that working together with people from different backgrounds, with different interests, produces some pretty exciting results, innovative results. So I'm looking forward to that, from I guess from a academic or a professional point of view. Personally, I'm looking forward to being on a beach, and engaging in different activities that will help to build myself as well, spiritually and emotionally. And yeah, just having a really good time, spreading happiness. Thank you, Dr. Ross.
No problem, and I'll get back to you with a couple more, but let me wrap up with Dr. Gladys here. So, Dr. Gladys, what's one surprising skill that has helped you in your scientific career? So, something that you didn't naturally normally expect, but you picked up along the way that really turned out well for you.
I would say, first of all, I want to say, definitely technology. I definitely want to mention that technology is definitely something that really has enhanced my skill set. I just want to say, and that's something that's really fresh, you know what I mean? But I do want to mention prior to that, before this big technology boom, critical thinking skills. Critical thinking
Speak
skills have
about
been
that a little
so
bit.
valuable in various ways. I mean, being able to figure things out. I told you that is my phrase, and it has to do with critical thinking skills. And so I think that that has really helped me along my path because there's been situations I've been in where something was supposed to be prepared a certain way and it was not, so I had to improvise. And and many times, and I try to emphasize that to my students, I'm always using my critical thinking skill when they come to me when they need troubleshooting. I'm always telling them, okay, let's look at it this way. Okay, we don't have this, so what can we substitute that with? So critical thinking skills all the way, and even throughout, it's not just in that area. In my entire life, you have to figure things out, whatever that is. So that's what I'm going to go with, those critical thinking skills.
Excellent. And what is that t-shirt? What is that? What is the
Um,
t-shirt?
Figure it out.
Right, thank you. So you'll see that soon. So Dr. Gladys, what is the most important quality for success in scientific education, but more importantly, transitioning from so what is the most important thing to be successful in the education in the scientific space, but also transitioning into employment? Because I think that's where a lot of things get lost is the transition. What's important to have a successful transition? But before you transition, for the students, what's important to be a successful student? And then how do you transition that into employment?
Well, let me just say this. First of all, what I'm finding with a lot of students is that accountability. Okay. I think, and I say that in the sense of, like I said, you have to figure it out when you have issues going on in your life. First of all, you have to prioritize. Okay. Because if you don't have just those basic soft skill sets, you're going to have issues. I don't know if you've heard, but a lot of companies are firing these young adults because they don't have the typical soft skills. They're having to deal with, training them in ethics, communication, and I know you probably thought there was going to be something more scientific, but it's those skill sets that can get you in the door and keep you in the door. So a lot of them are being released because of that. And I'm experiencing that in the classroom. And that's why I said accountability, knowing what you can handle. I had someone come to me and they were telling me that they had an issue, they had a mental health issue. Okay, well, that's not my area. And then we have a department at the college that handles that. So if they require accommodations, I can provide, whatever I can for them, more time or what have you. But you bringing your issue to me is not the answer. You see, because I have a job to do, and my job is to teach you and to give you the grade that you've earned. So I really believe it has to do with those soft skills, managing. First of all, when I was a student, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think that a lot of professors experience this. A lot of people weren't bringing their issues into the classroom. But that's what I'm finding now. I'm being inundated with a lot of emails about, oh, I had to take care of my mom. I had to take care of my. That's not my problem. You understand? I cannot carry you through the semester. Can you imagine me trying to carry 30 people through the semester and they have all these different issues? That's unrealistic. I'll end up with a mental illness if I'm trying to do something like that. So I'm just saying it's those soft skills, communication, accountability, showing up on time, time management. Those are the type of things that you require, because see, you can learn the skill set. You can learn how to do technology, but if you don't have like good time management skills and you're not able to complete the job, you're not going to keep the job. So I just wanted to mention that.
Wow. Okay, you heard it, guys. Here. This is a special Sunday, and thank you. I know we got about 4 minutes or 5 minutes to wrap this up, but Dr. Gladys, please, I know it's a Sunday, you're on the pulpit and you're preaching, and we really appreciate it. In this, what you speak about education, I think, again, I would like to shout out TSA at this time point, because what you're saying, and the TSA I refer to is Tanzania STEM Association, and some youth that's in Tanzania, that's what they're doing, is putting together and trying to understand how do we use organizations like ours that have experience and professionals to bring that experience and that training to the youth in a real way. So I think that has a lot to do again with this destination trip as well. On the education side, is a good partnership. So with that being said, you know, coming up next week, we're going to continue our conversations within and around this destination trip, but I do have a confirmation that we will be discussing my happy genes next week with Dr. J. Dunn. So for you guys, do your homework. If you don't know, that's my happy genes, GENES.com. You can check out and see what Dr. Dunn has to offer and what that has to do with health, wealth, and technology, because it's all of that wrapped in one. It's something that's very accessible to you, and believe it or not, it's something that's relevant to every living individual in the world. And speaking of epigenetics, it's a down that line and understanding health and nutrition. So we're gonna have a good show next week as well, and we got some big announcements coming down the road too with this Zanzibar trip as far as it concerns the AR, VR, and metaverse space. So stay tuned for that. You guys got to stay tuned to our shows, 10 a.m. EST on Sundays, to really keep up with what's going on. And again, thank you. This episode was brought to you by Beneath These, and you can get that at, where can we get that at?
Beneathies.com.
Okay, beneaththese.com. If you
Yeah.
want the perfect attire that is the intersection between fashion and comfort, go get your Beneath These today. I'm Dr. Ross. I'm really a scientist. I am Jamaican made and American raised. If you like what you heard, um, get stay in tune. we have a website now that we have been working on diligently for the Happiness Tribe. We're there live now in social media, and we'll be out in the public more. But as we get towards this plan, and again, you guys heard it today from our honorable guests as well as our co-hosts here. There's a lot to do in the planning and execution of this opportunity, but it's definitely that. And make no mistake, it's definitely a great opportunity for investors, for entrepreneurs, just for individuals that want to contribute and change, and bring positivity to an environment. Again, if you're in hospitality, if you're in tourism, if you're in real estate, if you're in education, technology, development, marine biology. I mean, we hit so many areas today, epigenetics, but again, this will continue. Thank you, Miss Kim. I'm gonna wrap it up here and have you in this last, however long you want to take, bring us to a conclusion. I want to thank you for creating this opportunity. I am Dr. Ross, and I'm signing off.
Thank you, Dr. Ras, but I'm missing Sister Yodit's rapid fire questions. Why are you letting her get away with it?
We're gonna start the show with that next week.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yes, no, it's been a pleasure. Very, very nice show. I enjoyed the rapid show that was making me sweat. I obviously enjoyed, I love it, Dr. Gladys, when you talk about, you actually touch a raw nerve when you talk about soft skills. That's fundamental. It's the beginning. And it's so sad when you see how many graduates from PhD level to our children that still lack the basics, call it communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, adaptability. And because, I mean, when you get some of those skills, you can then create your own jobs, you can create opportunities for yourself. But these are not things that we are taught in school. So it's sort of go figure. So I love it. You're telling them to go figure, as they should. Thank you, Dr. Ras. It's been awesome, a great show. Thank you, Sister Yodit. Thank you, Honorable Simai. We truly appreciate your presence. It's an honor to have you. Our politicians are very busy people, so when they spare time to join us, we salute. And we can see the red carpet getting rolled out for our trip to Zanzibar. So we'll keep on bringing other dignitaries from Zanzibar to keep on educating us so that our viewers, our listeners can also get to know why Zanzibar and why should I join the Happiness Tribe on a trip to Zanzibar. A lot of opportunities, and we'll also be blogging about it. Please visit our YouTube channel, subscribe and follow us, our Facebook, our Instagram, and of course, our LinkedIn pages to learn more. It's been a pleasure. Wishing you all a pleasant Sunday. Thank you, our listeners. I've seen Millicent, Sebastian, Selassie. I've forgotten the others. Sorry, I'm not on the platform to see them. But as always, we appreciate your presence. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the Sunday. Goodbye.
Miss Paula, we miss you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Take care.
You.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Have a good day.
Yeah.